Nobody has ever gave me this rundown on things. As many podcasts as I've ever done, I've always knew there was like separate cameras, but nobody's ever told me that.
Told you why? Well,
No.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. No, because now I know. Then I'm not looking at that one when I say I'm like right here.
I am so happy that you're here because watching the John Christ podcast, that's the one I'm going to keep referring to because it was my favorite. You showed up a day early and then you also showed up a day late to somewhere else, right?
Yes. Yes, I showed up
You
a
made
day.
it today.
I showed up a day early to John Chris podcast, and I showed up a day late to Bunny's podcast.
Wait, is this Jelly Rolls Bunny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to go watch that one.
I was in Birmingham, and Bunny called, and she was like, "Hey, where you at?" And I was like, "I'm in Birmingham." Like, what do you mean? Where am I at? Like, I'm not supposed to be there till tomorrow. She was like, "It's today," and I was like, "Oh, can we reschedule till tomorrow?"
You made Bunny wait for you.
Yeah. She said, "Yeah, I don't mind, babe. You're good."
Aww.
Yeah.
I need to go back and watch that one. When you said that, I was like, oh, I bet that's a good podcast.
Yeah, it was.
I'm
It
a
was
big
good
podcaster. I love, obviously. But
Yeah.
what podcast do you listen to?
True Crime All the Time with Ashley Flowers.
Okay.
Maybe I'm psycho. That's how I go to bed every night. Is I listen to true crime podcast
You are psycho.
and books about murder and stuff. It's wild. Right now I'm on Columbine.
Ooh.
The book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm listening to
Gosh.
to put me.
And you don't have dreams? Like PTSD dreams?
Yeah, probably, but that's what gets me off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I guess that's the form of autism I have. That right there's the opening.
That's
Yeah.
got to be the opening right there.
That's the flavor of autism I have.
I was just going to say, hey, did you guys know that in 1983,
No.
the chicken nugget...
Listen.
Listen. Okay, listen. Did you guys know that in 1983, the chicken nuggets were first invented by McDonald's? And also, in 1983, Diet Coke hit the shelves. And in 1983, our guest was born. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, Justin Danger Nunley.
What's up? How's everybody doing today? How are you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Justin, thanks for...
1983. You can find everything on Google.
I told you I Googled you. Everything's out there. The good, the bad, the ugly.
I've
No.
never Googled myself.
You need to.
No,
Just kidding.
Never. I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever. I wonder how much of it's actually true, though.
It's probably not true at all. None of it, actually. In fact, are you even from Cherokee, Alabama?
I am from Cherokee, Alabama.
Okay.
Yep.
And you currently live in Fort Walton Beach, Florida?
We'll say yes on that one.
Yeah,
We'll
TBD.
say yes.
No, it's in an undisclosed location.
Apparently, you can find where I live because people show up at my house all
I
the time.
saw that post
Yeah.
when I Googled you.
Yeah, people are crazy.
What's the craziest
Don't come to my
experience?
house.
Yeah, PSA. I'll
What's
second
the
that.
craziest?
Yeah,
Somebody drove from Colorado to my house to give me a flashlight. Flashlight, not the other. But we was having an end of the season baseball party. So I had all the I coach baseball, right? My kids' baseball team. So we had all the players there, all the parents there. We was having a fun little pool party.
The gates were open probably.
Yeah.
Visitors were welcome.
Yep. Yeah. Except for
not
that
those.
visitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, invited visitors were welcome.
True.
Yeah. And then he showed up, bless his heart. I don't know.
He might
But-
not be listening to this, so you can give us the tea.
Well, I mean, there was really no tea. Like I met him out front with, my wireless hole puncher and told him that this was inappropriate.
Yeah.
This is my home. So I don't know.
You're going to have to get a new security system or change your address maybe, or unfortunately, that sucks.
I've got a wireless hole puncher. We're
Okay,
good.
that's enough.
Yep.
It reminds me of...
Bluetooth device. My Bluetooth device.
I have so many... I'm not even going to ask.
Bluetooth made by Smith & Wesson. Actually, it's a SIG, yeah.
Okay, right on, yeah. I know a lot of guys out there that are like,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
get it.
They
I
knew
don't
what
get
I was
it.
talking about, yeah.
But it does remind me of a story. Have you ever met Jace Robertson? You know who I'm talking about?
No, I know
Robertson?
Jace, but
Okay.
I've never met him. No,
Okay.
love that family.
They have
Yeah.
similar situations happen, and they talk about it too. And most of the time, it's all about the gospel. Most of the time, they come to Jesus about it and stuff. But I can only imagine.
Well, and I'm sure everybody that has ever came to my house had pure intentions.
Yes.
The problem is
They were not
people
invited.
are crazy as And you don't know the difference, whether people are going to, show up with good intentions or ill intentions. So I just treat everybody that they have bad intentions if they come to my house.
And this is why you're my favorite guest on the podcast so far. Everyone is like, you need to see the good in others. You need to be, and like you do, but you got to keep them away. You got to
I hope you find Jesus, but don't come to my house to find him. Or you might be meeting him.
You'll meet him.
You will find him, No, I don't know. It's weird. It is weird because we went from just being a normal, in
2019, normal family.
Yeah. 2020 was still normal. Okay. 2021's when the lid blew off of everything. And it's still just like, the difference is that apparently I'm highly recognizable, right? I don't know what it is. I have grew a beard. I have shaved my beard. I have wore a hat, not wore a hat. Fixed
glasses,
my hair.
no glasses.
Exactly.
Sunglasses.
Hat backwards, hat forward. Apparently I'm recognizable. I don't know. I don't get it, right? Maybe it's because I've had so many viral videos. But
a few.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with all that, but I was going somewhere with it.
That's okay, because you know what I noticed at lunch today?
What's that?
So we should tell them. We went as a group to a Terry Black's barbecue here in Fort Worth, and there was a lot of guys that looked like you. Did you notice that?
Mm-mm.
You didn't notice? So it was so funny to me because I was like, wait, I wonder if they know who you are, first of all. They didn't. Nobody approached you. I was very proud of them.
There was a group that knew who I was.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, I could catch people looking from across, but they don't want to bother you.
Yeah.
There's two different types of people that don't mind coming up to you while you're eating or with a large crowd, and then people that are, respectful, and they will not come up to you when you're eating.
Which do you prefer?
I really don't care. Now if I'm at a business meal, if I'm sitting down, we're talking business, it can be aggravating because if I get off track, it's hard to get me back on track unless I've had my Adderall, and then I'll stay on track. But, Yeah.
Well, okay. So one thing that I was drawn to was like, seriously, same look, ball caps, t-shirt, tattoos and everything. I was just like, beards. I was just like, okay, we need to just do a little shuffle. Would people recognize?
Except for the beard is gone now.
True.
Yeah.
Was that a planned thing or?
Yeah, I got paid to do it.
Oh,
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I would grow a beard to get paid to shave it.
I mean, you could. It's 2025. You probably can.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
There's some pills for that.
I'm sure there is. I wouldn't know about it, but I mean,
oh man.
Do you?
Yeah, no. Okay, so I do want to talk about your tattoos though, because I don't feel like that's something you've talked about a lot. What are the stories behind your tattoos?
I don't know. Impulsiveness. That's pretty much the story behind it.
Did you get any of them when you were serving in the military? I guess you're still currently serving, so that's kind of a trick question. But you know what I'm saying.
Well,
when you were
from the outside looking in, most people think I'm already retired.
Yeah.
Which technically I am, but I don't officially retire until like September the 1st.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing Skill Bridge. It's like a program that allows service members to transition, not like that, from
That's why military, you shaved your beard.
from military life to civilian life and get integrated in the workforce, because it is a huge transition for military members. Me, I'm not going to have to worry about that.
True.
Thank God, luckily.
For real.
If the Lord's willing, I will never have to work for anybody again,
Amen.
But, it's a great program, and I've said, I think I'll take advantage of that program. So I'm working for one of my really good friends, Gus. He owns Emerald Coast Harley Davidson and Big Gus Tractor. You got to say Big Gus Tractor and Equipment.
Now I recognize it because of the voice.
Yeah. Down there. So I'm just doing videos with him and stuff to, which I'm a big Harley guy. I love riding.
Okay.
So
that checks out.
That's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're chasing a lot of squirrels. I don't even remember where that point was going. It's fun though.
It's so fun.
I still have not. We're coming back. We will come back full circle, and I will finish my thought earlier about me going viral a lot. I haven't figured out where I was at when I hit that circle, but we're going to close that loop.
I love talking to you because it is like talking to a squirrel, and I feel like maybe you're dodging my questions, but you're not at all. You're just like, oh, squirrel.
No, you know how my videos are.
Yes.
I interrupt people, and then I give you a random fact that has nothing to do with what I interrupt. That is how my mind works.
You didn't even have to try.
I don't.
Do you remember your first viral moment, your first viral video all those years ago?
Yeah. I think it was the cloud one where the girl said, hey, legitimate question, how do you throw a punch? And I said, with your hand. Listen, did you know that the average cumulus cloud weighs over 1 million pounds. Now you do. And
And
apparently I
didn't.
got the fact wrong. I got the fact wrong.
Oh, did people
There was
just...
a FedEx truck that pulled up behind me right before I shot it. And yeah.
They attacked you. They said you're wrong.
Oh, they'll let you know when you're wrong.
Oh, wow. No wonder you don't Google yourself. That's,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
whatever. I don't
Okay,
even care.
so when that happened though, do you remember thinking like, oh, I've got to do this again? Or what's my strategy? Or were you just like, hey, I'm going to do another video?
Now the hell with it. Keep rolling.
Yeah.
You know, there's only one perfect person that ever walked this earth, and they hung him up on some wood. So roll on.
Yeah. And going back to that day, like that time, it was you said 2021. I was thinking it was 2020, but maybe a little post-COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever see yourself in that career, like that you would be getting paid by brands to do things?
No. I mean, everybody wants to when they start doing videos.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me probably about a year and a half of posting at least 3 videos a day before you figure it out, right? That's what everybody always asks me, like, how do you do it? I always say, start posting, you know, and I'm not being a smart aleck when I tell them that. That's what you have to do. You have to figure it out for yourself.
The algorithm.
I can tell you everything that I know, but you're not going to understand what I'm saying unless you start doing it, right? Like the hooks for videos. I never understood what a hook was up until probably about a year ago. And I've been viral for 4 years before that. And I just didn't understand all this stuff, right?
Wow.
And now I understand it. So I understand how to do standalone videos now, you know, with the funny stitches that I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I say, yeah, just do it.
That's really cool. And I love to get this kind of serious side of you because everyone, you know, knows you as the comedian and it's just natural to you. You don't even have to try, which I really appreciate. But what's really cool for me is if we go back a little bit, even before you were viral, when you mentioned living a normal life, you have a baseball, softball facility, right?
I did.
Okay,
yeah,
talk about that.
Me and my friend Ski owned it was called Extra Innings, and it was a baseball and softball training facility. We had like 4 batting cages and then a bullpen at the end. And I was a hitting instructor. You know, I taught hitting, and I'm good at, you know, teaching how to hit a baseball, you know, really good at it. And I thought that that's where I would wind up being is, you know, moving up and, you know, hopefully one day, you know, reaching the big leagues, being a hitting coach or whatever. But, you know, life had other plans. So when I blew up on the internet and realized I didn't have time for that anymore, just said, I sold my half back to Ski for what I had in it and said, I don't care how much you sell it for when you wind up selling it, go make your money, man. I'm fine.
It's so funny to hear you talk about your friends because so far you've told us that you have a Gus and a Ski and you were on Bunny's podcast. It sounds like that's your audience. That's your person.
100%. Yep. That's what we do.
No, that's so cool. I love that. And that you can go back and have those good relationships with those people. That says a lot. Did you, because you obviously have 2 sons.
Yep.
Do they have any interest in baseball at all?
Yeah, my youngest, he's an athlete. He's good. He's and he's just like me. He's just like me, except for he doesn't understand when to and when not to.
Ooh.
He's got the comedic time, and I was telling them when we was driving back from Terry Black's that you know, the youngest has figured out that he can say whatever he wants to say so long as it's funny.
Oh,
right?
no.
Because I'm not going to, me being a comedian, I'm not going to sit there and get on to you if it's funny. Like, it's a joke, you know? And he's figured out, he's figured out the comedic time, and he will say some of the wildest stuff you've ever heard, but I'm like, it's actually a good joke. His mom doesn't think it's funny, but I'm like, that is a great joke. I'm stealing that.
So and as his father, you can.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you know, I've been with, you know, several A-list comedians, and Blake's been around, and they hang out with Blake for like 10 minutes, and they're just about all of them are like, that's the one.
He's got it.
He's going to make a lot of money one day.
Wow.
know?
That's got to be cool for him, but then also cool for you as a dad. I mean,
oh, yeah.
Come on. Your friends, your peers, which, by the way, you should go out on the road. I think you're going to want to soon,
coming.
Right? Yeah.
It's
okay.
coming. Yeah. It's in its works.
Good.
I was going to do something with Cletus T. Judd. Do you remember Cletus T. Judd?
I don't. I'm only 28.
Now, y'all can't hear what's going on up there, but it sounds like 2 elephants are making love upstairs. But she told me that we have noise-canceling microphones, so you didn't hear that. But just know that there's 2 elephants getting it on above my head.
Those boots, that's how it's made up there.
Right there. So, what were we talking about?
You're going on the road.
Oh, yeah. I was supposed to do something with Cletus TJ. Do you remember Cletus TJ?
I don't know.
How old are you?
28.
Yeah,
That's
28. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Well, he used to do like parody songs, country parody songs, like "Every Light in the House is Blown."
Yes,
and
I know
he'd
you're
just
talking about
crazy
now.
song. "If Shania Was Mine," just crazy parody songs. Anyways, so he does shows now, and he reached out and wanted me to do a show with him there in Panama City, and I said, "Yeah, let's do it, man." And then about 2 days before the show was supposed to happen, he was going to stay with me the night before and us get some content, and the promoter nixed it for later on in the year. So it's going to happen later on in the year. It just didn't. It was supposed to already happen, but that's where we're at. But stand-up is coming. It's coming.
And as it should. I mean, you're naturally so funny. Even hearing and seeing you in your element just among people, not even trying, it's amazing. And it's so cool that you've been able to help so many people without even knowing it, realizing it, because you're so funny. You provide like a comedic relief in some of the hardest times. You've seen the hardest moments, hardest times in the battlefield,
I've seen
all that.
some hard times.
You have seen some stuff, which we probably can't even talk about.
Right,
But truly, like, you have such a gift.
Yeah.
So
well, thank you. I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
that. I've spoke about it before, but I struggle with clinical depression, all through my adolescent years and then my young adult years and everything. And
I'd say I'm fighting it now, if we're being honest. Yeah.
Are
sure.
you?
Yeah. The 20s and trying to figure everything out. And you have to have it all, the world says, you have to have it all put together.
And it's got to be harder now.
Yes.
Like me, at the age that I'm at, I don't care what anybody else thinks.
You're right.
I've gotten to that point where I'm just like, I don't care.
You've got your stuff. You know your life. You know who you are.
I know who I am,
Yeah.
right? But as a young person, and that's why I feel bad for my kids, is because everything's online, right? Everybody's expected to be on, the younger kids expect to be on Snap, Insta, and everything. And it can get pretty cruel on there. Now, me, you say what you want to about me. That's engagement. Baby, you leave a negative comment, I'm happy about it. That's
You're probably
pushing
going to
videos more.
remake it, remix it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but I feel bad for if you still do care what people think, right? That's got to be hard.
Definitely.
That's one thing I told my wife. The comments used to bother her. And I was like, look, you got to stop reading or stop caring, one or the other. And I don't care, so I'll read everything.
And that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that you have that insight. And I know someone out there, including myself, needed to hear it, especially the people walking above us.
And you're telling me they will not hear any of that?
I don't think so. They're not going to hear it. You guys, comment below. If you hear it, let us know.
Hey, right now, you're going to have to not noise cancel out, but roll back over it. And then this is what it sounds like to us. There you go. The elephants are upstairs making love. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so to get back into things,
Yeah.
I so appreciate that you have a business alongside this. The RedFin Polarized sunglasses.
Yep,
Big
Redfin.
in fishing industry, hunting. People would wear them too.
All
Talk
outdoors,
about that.
outdoors lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a sunglass company, and our frames are Italian made in a little family factory over in Italy, and then the lenses are Zeiss lenses. If you know anything about the outdoors community, Zeiss is like huge in scopes and binoculars and everything. So it's great quality glasses, and I love them.
And that's kind of your side gig per se.
That and Waze energy drinks. Yeah. So Waze energy drinks, Waze, WAYSS. The S is squared because it means we appreciate your service and sacrifice. So we give 10% back of everything that we profit back to organizations like the Gary Sinise Foundation. Let's do this.
You've had too many energy drinks.
Yeah, the Gary Sinise Foundation and Fifth Squad that helps military veterans and first responders.
Wow.
So and the energy drinks are amazing. I'm gonna have to send y'all a couple cases here to try it out. But
Justin, that wasn't on Google. I couldn't find that.
Yeah, see, not everything's on Google.
And also, it's not all true.
Right.
No, that's incredible.
Yep.
I knew that you were a down to earth guy, just based on the podcast and interaction that I had seen, but. That is so cool that you're tied to that. I love brands. I build a lot of brand loyalty with brands like that. That give back to things. Kind of like Justin. I don't know if you know about ours, but the Justin Cowboy Crisis Fund. We help, injured cowboys, injured athletes, and same situation. If we don't do it, who is? Same for you guys.
Right.
If you don't do it, who is? So
yeah, I mean, I keep up with Justin Boots. Now,
Okay.
listen, did you know that I was actually named after Justin Boots?
Okay, that's what I had heard, but I didn't know if that was
No,
true.
dead serious. My sister was named after a Waylon Jennings song. I was named after a boot company,
What's your sister's name?
Amanda.
And you were named after a boot company, the boot company. I
The
must
boot
add.
company established in 1879. Yeah.
Wow.
And so, yeah, Justin, my belt buckle, got that for my 21st birthday from my parents. Yeah, so it's the only belt buckle I've ever owned. So it's not like, I've just throwing some Justin stuff just to come to Fort Worth and meet y'all or whatever. Like, I've always been a big fan of the brand. It's an iconic brand. Very iconic.
It's older than both of us put together and then some.
Exactly.
That is so cool to hear. Everyone in the comment section, I do read the comment section, by the way. Everyone in the comment section is always like, Justin, it's my favorite. And you want to believe them because they're on social media and they say it. But talking to a person, I think that's so cool.
Yeah, Justin, and I think it's really cool. Nakona is now part of, the Justin brand now. What they got acquired in 1990 or something like that.
Don't get me lying.
I think it was 1990. Was it 1990? I think it was 1990.
Juan says he thinks.
The story behind all of it is fascinating to me, that the younger sister stayed in Nakona.
Yes.
When the father and the three sons moved up here to Fort Worth, and she's like, or no, not the father had already passed away. The three sons moved, the whole conglomerate up here, and she said, I'm staying in Nakona. I ain't going to Fort Worth.
I'm making my own boot company.
And that's where, the Nakona is. So growing up, my dad's side of the family lived in Burke Burnett, Texas.
Okay.
Which is right outside of Wichita Falls, not far from here. And there was a Nakona outlet there. So all of our childhood summers was spent in Wichita Falls, Burke Burnett. We didn't get to go to Disney World or Disneyland or the beach or anything. We went to Burke Burnett, Texas.
And shopped at the Nakona outlet.
Shopped at the Nakona outlet. So seeing all the artwork for the Nakona, the snake coming up the boot and the grizzly bear and everything. My parents had those T-shirts, growing up. Wow. So that's part of my childhood. It's really cool to come here and see all of that. When I was over there with Miss Nancy earlier, we went back there. She took me back to her back closet back there, and it was all those, boot boxes and those Nakona boxes.
Our listeners love Nancy, so we've got to give Nancy a shout out. I guess to set this up,
Nancy is awesome.
Justin was given the opportunity to go through our archives, and I still to this day talk about needing to do a vlog and just show everyone. But honestly, you can't even, the video doesn't do it justice. You have to see
not
it in
at all.
person.
I've got goosebumps talking about it. It is so cool to see all of it, and then all the old boots, that was made for like icons, iconic people,
presidents, celebrities. You name it. And a lot of the times there was a second pair made. So we would give them a pair, but then they kept a pair for historic archives and preserved it. So that's like,
I tell you, the current, I don't talk politics at all.
Yeah.
Don't get into it.
Nope, I won't ask you.
I ain't trying to fight with nobody over politics because, regardless of how you feel about it, I'm not changing your mind. You're not changing my mind. Let's just roll on with our lives.
Let's coexist. Yes.
The boots, regardless of how you feel about them, the boots that y'all have over there that were made for Donald Trump, those boots are wild.
Intricate.
They are gorgeous.
Seal.
The fact that somebody sat there and hand stitched all that. Maybe you could overlay a video or a picture of those boots on here.
Do that.
But the presidential seal, it is all hand stitched. It is wild. Absolutely.
Have
insane.
you? So you got to design boots today with Ray. Have you gotten to meet Shelby, one of our other designers?
No, because she's in El Paso right now. She was supposed to be here, but she's not in town.
Yes,
hopefully
she does a lot of along with Ray. She does a lot of those celebrity boots, and we just recently did so Reba is one of our partners, and she likes to gift her friends boots, and we did like Michael Bublé, Gwen Stefani, and seeing those boots too. Taking an idea and then making it a boot, and then actually, you're so right, having someone stitch, it's so mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
It's something I will never be able to do. We should stick to talking, right?
100%. My
sewing.
mind does not work like that. You came in towards the end over there when we were designing the boots.
Okay.
I think.
Yep.
Didn't you
actually,
walk in?
I just met you over there.
Okay.
So I didn't see what you designed.
Yeah.
It's under
It's
wraps.
It's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to it. We're actually gonna give a pair away. So I'm getting a pair for myself.
Heck yes,
and
you
then
are.
we're giving a pair away. And trust me, I designed the boots I want to wear because I love wearing boots. So,
Can you give us a sneak peek?
Yeah, it's elephant.
Ooh.
The bottom's elephant. It's going to be black on red type feel. It's going to be cool.
That's so
I'm
cool.
looking forward to it.
Are you gonna ride them on your Harley or wear them on your Harley? Is that how that works?
I don't wear boots on Harley because I've got a heel shifter, right? But I can't get used to it because when you wear like nice shoes on a bike, when you go to shift, they get scuffed right there, right? But I've got a heel shifter, but I'm so used to just shifting with my toe. Yeah. I never use the heel shifter, so
probably not.
I usually wear the same pair of shoes when I ride.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you rebuy them, or are they just like an old pair that you just have?
Oh no, I rebuy them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining.
Yeah, they're not white. They're not the white New Balance. I haven't hit that dad age yet.
You're over 40, so you're pushing it, but
thanks. I appreciate that.
No, I have to give you some crap because
I love it.
You're full of crap on the internet.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And it's so entertaining.
Yeah.
What does it feel like to know? So it's no secret. You're well known. My husband knows about you. So many people here have said that, and we even talked about you got recognized. Wherever you go. How does it feel knowing that like everyone's husbands and boyfriends and dads know about you?
I don't know. It's weird. I mean, that is a weird piece. One thing that I found the weirdest is, people come up to me, and I've often said this, that it seems like everybody knows me, but I don't know anybody, So they have that connection with me, but I don't have that connection with them. You know what I'm saying? I love meeting people. Don't get me wrong, right? But I always feel like I'm missing out on something because they always come up and they're like, and I don't know you like you know me, type thing.
Ooh,
So,
that's such a trip.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even now, I did a lot of research, watched a lot of podcast hours of you, and even now, it's like we're carrying on a conversation, and really, realistically, you don't know me from Adam,
right.
So that's got to be so wow. Thinking about your perspective that is wild.
Yeah,
I guess that's why it's good.
So everybody that I meet, I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, you're like, wait, were you just talking about me?
Yeah,
but not really. But like,
right?
Yeah. I totally understand that feeling. Whoa. Okay, well then help us fill in some blanks, and maybe I'll get to add some along the way. Okay. I loved a story that you told about, and you didn't really get to go into detail. So now is the time to go into detail. All right. You met your wife growing up in church at the Church of Christ. And we were kind of talking about it at lunch, but my husband grew up Church of Christ. Right. And I was totally shocked when I learned that there was no instruments.
No instruments.
And small town.
Except for the pitch pop.
Oh.
Just to get you on, get that song leader on pitch before you start singing,
Yes. And, in a small town, there's really not a lot of talent. There's sometimes hit and miss. There's some great talent, but Tyler's church, there's really, I hope you guys are not listening right now.
She's saying you can't sing.
I am absolutely saying you can't
and
sing.
That's okay because I've been to a lot of Church of Christ and there's some of them, they can't sing. Now there's a few though. You get back off into the country, and the acoustics are just right. And the congregation where me and Crystal met, the acoustics are perfect. There's some great singers there, and it's better without the music.
Okay, so tell us about that. Your love story, your meet cute.
There's really none. I mean, she's a lot older than me. Crystal's, I think she's pushing 60 now. She's not. She's only 4 years older than me. But we were separated by 4 years.
Classes
in school.
Too.
So you got to think about that, right? So like I was in middle school when she's getting ready to graduate high school.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So we didn't date or anything like that back in the day. I was already gone and off in the military before we started, talking and decided to. I was actually in another country. I was in Qatar.
Wow.
I was in the Middle East, when she reached out. And apparently my mom went up to her at a funeral home of all places and said, hey, Justin's single. Like, Mom, what are you doing? Y'all are at a dang funeral home. Why are we doing this? But, yeah, it worked out.
Did she just send you a letter? How did she communicate with you?
Well, it was in the 2000s. Lord have mercy. It's not like we didn't have email.
The first cell phone.
We emailed.
Okay.
But we also did, there was some letters sent,
Wow.
We didn't have the iPhones. Yeah, we did. When was the first iPhone? 2007. We didn't have iPhones then.
No.
The iPhone hadn't come out yet.
Whoa. You had to send the codes. Click the button 3 times to say
Unless
one
you
letter.
had a BlackBerry.
Ooh, yeah. That changed everything a bit. Do you still have your letters that you guys wrote back and forth to each other?
I'm sure they're somewhere.
You're going to have to dig them out. That's probably some good content, some spicy content.
I can't.
No?
Because I know, I say, I don't know. I know where they would be at. They're in the same bin as every other card and everything else I got while I was downrange. I am a very sentimental person. And to see, cards from my grandparents that had passed away would wreck my week.
Oh, no.
So, but yeah. So I'm that's one thing about me, that I'm very, very sentimental. I don't even like to look at old pictures. When memories pop up on Facebook of the kids when they were younger, I don't even like looking at that. I'm like, scroll away. Can't do it.
That's such a good dad. My dad's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't want to watch everything. It makes you feel old, first of all.
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with my age or my mortality or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with the simpler times being gone. Because you don't get that.
Yes.
We don't get that anymore.
Mm-mm.
It don't seem like.
It's so crazy to think about that, because you are not making your living, but a big part of your living is on TikTok with the phones. It's one of those necessary evil things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever want to check out? Do you ever just want to be like, go back to simple times, get a flip phone, be gone fishing, hunting for the weekend? Yeah. My husband talks about that all the time. We're like this close to getting him a flip phone, I think.
Yeah, but it's impossible in this day and age.
It is.
Especially if you want to keep making the living that you're making, or I don't know. I couldn't imagine life without social media at this point.
No, you couldn't.
And I don't even consume a lot of social media.
True.
I spend most of my waking days, creating instead of consuming. I mean, I probably, if you looked at my screen time, it would be wild, but that's all, the editing and shooting and everything. Probably scrolling wise, I probably only get to scroll maybe 30 minutes a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's when I'm laying in bed before I fall asleep with the phone on my chest,
Man.
So, yeah.
What a time. That's like totally different than how we grew up, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost unfathomable.
Well, yeah. And as much content as I put out, because I try to put out at least 4 videos a day, sometimes more, right? So it turns into about 17-hour days for me.
What is your creative process? Do you see something? Do you get inspo? Do people send you videos? Do you just think of a fun fact that you're like, hey, I'm going to share this now?
No, people send me stuff. I don't really even know anymore. I really don't have a clue.
You heard it here first. He's soul searching.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just kind of comes together at this point,
That's beautiful.
Everything just comes together.
You've just been doing it long enough that you kind of have the idea down. And are you a one-man show? Do you shoot, record, edit?
Everything.
Wow.
I'm tired.
No wonder it's 17-hour days.
I'm tired, boss. Yeah, no. So I do everything except for the business negotiations and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've got a business manager. Her name's Carissa. Phenomenal person. She's like sister to me. Her husband Brent is like me and him are best friends. They live in Bristol, Tennessee. And they are absolute godsends, because I wouldn't be as far along as I am without them. Mm-mm. So I do every bit of the day-to-day stuff when it comes to like the business side of the house, and like, making sure that, I have plane tickets, making sure that, hey, you gotta post this today for this brand. She takes care of all that. So she kind of mothers me a little bit. And she's like, hey, we got to get this done. I'm like, okay.
And you need it. It works out.
Yeah. And it lets me kind of just free range, with my mind. And when she needs to pull me in to do something, she's like, we're on a hard deadline. We got to do this. So.
Is that because you are an entrepreneur, you have several businesses. Mm-hmm. Do you like the business side of things, or do you like just to be the funny entertainer on cloud nine?
Do I like doing it? Yes. It's a necessary evil. You have to do it. But it also, you do too much of the business stuff, it takes away from the creativity. Mm-hmm. And in order to keep making content, you got to be creative.
True.
So, yeah.
No, that's
I guess
so true.
if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to know, there's a lot of our audiences about in between our ages, actually, trying to figure out life, maybe just getting established in businesses. So what's your best advice then as an entrepreneur? Like what advice would you give to someone that's like starting a business or going out on their own or even continuing just to freelance? There's a lot of that too.
Be too stupid to quit. Every successful person throughout history at some point was met with such adversity. Nobody would have blamed them for quitting. They'd have been like, yeah, it just wasn't in the cards. But they pushed on, and they was too stupid to know that they should have quit. And they became super successful. Any autobiography you read from any successful person throughout history overcame tons of adversity to become the successful person they were. So, failure is part of the process, and it's a part that you have to have, because if you don't know failure, you're not going to appreciate the success. So
wow, that is solid advice, because I mean, a fear of failure is a huge fear for everyone. They say public speaking is the biggest fear. You've already conquered that. But I would say failure, I don't know officially, but I would say failure is right under that. A lot of people don't want to fail. So.
Well, it's like when I started doing videos, in 2019. Right. And I posted for a year and a half before I figured it out. 3 times a day, barely getting noticed at all. I had a viral moment here and there of just telling my wife jokes and stuff. But, when it took all of those, I probably posted 3,000 videos, and none of them caught any traction. But because of those 3,000 failures, was able to let me be successful. That's how I look at it. I mean, I may not have a clue what I'm talking about, but, I think it had something to do with it. And it builds character,
It does.
It's like, if I can do that for a year and a half and become successful doing it, I can do whatever.
I love that you said building character. My parents would always say, whatever I wanted to do, I was complaining about or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, Taylor, it builds character. Or like, go clean the horse stalls again. Go clean the pig, whatever. And I would be like, finally, I told my mom one time, I'm tired of building character. I want to have character. I want to make it. But I think there's something along those lines that like it fuels you to kind of overcome
Well, it's like
it.
that old saying, if you pray for patience, God's going to test you.
Yes,
He's not going to give you patience. He's going to make you learn patience. That is the time. I mean, it's pretty much the same aspect of it.
Yes, that is so real. And I feel like I've gotten too serious with you. I feel like you're like a fun guy, but I've like really cracked the code on being serious. So
I don't like it.
I don't really like it either, because you're just so funny. So I've got to change the tune a little bit and ask you some crazy things that have happened to you. So like, I'm genuinely curious. Has there been anything that's happened to you in the airport or somewhere that is like so embarrassing for either you or someone else? Because along those same lines of you saying, when people talk to you and they know you.
Oh, somebody trying to take a selfie with me while I'm at a urinal.
No.
Yeah. Who in the does that? I never did ask before we started this. Can I cuss?
Yes. We'll bleep it.
Who in the And if you're watching this, what in the were you thinking? He said, hey, I'm a huge fan. Love your content. Can I get a selfie? And I said, it's in my hand. Like, bro, can I come out of the bathroom first? Yeah, people, it gets wild.
Because I've never been to. I have a sister. I don't have any brothers. I've learned a lot through marriage, meeting a husband and stuff. But so
I bet you
explain. I have culture shock. We could have a whole podcast about it. In the restroom, there's no stalls for urinals, right? It's just like all.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Out there for everyone.
Yeah. Well, you usually have dividers. Okay. Unless you're at a stadium.
Okay.
And then you've got a big trough.
That's what I was thinking of.
And
that's
they put no. That's just at stadiums.
Okay.
In sports arenas, you have a trough and they put ice in the trough.
To keep from splattering?
That, and it keeps the odor down.
Ew.
Yeah. Oh. So, no, there's usually dividers. So you're not sitting there just watching somebody, because who wants to do that?
That's weird. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't. Who would do that?
Clearly people do, though, because they wanted a selfie with you.
Right. Apparently, yeah. I don't know. We wasn't even at an airport or anything. Like, you're not in that big of a hurry.
No.
But I don't know. Yeah.
People are awkward, though. People probably do get really weird. Like, yes. They kind of get starstruck and sweaty and don't really. Yeah. I could see that.
Yeah.
That's, wow. Anything else? That's pretty crazy.
No, probably the coolest experience that I had just randomly was we had went to Vegas. Me and Crystal were in Vegas, and we had went to this show called Absent. You ever heard of that show?
No.
Well, it's an interesting show.
Okay.
I don't think there's any nudity, but it gets wild.
Close to it.
You know, it was about as far as my wife would have went. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Absent. Okay.
yeah, we're at Absent, and then we're sitting front row, right? And after the show, somebody comes up behind me and slaps me on the back, and it was one of the Backstreet Boys, and he was like, "Listen, did you know?" And Crystal's mouth her mouth just flew open, and that was when I first blew up.
Okay.
You know, so that's when I think that was kind of the moment that me and her both realized, this is
Wait, you made it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That is a cool. And
it was one of the Backstreet Boys and one of NSYNC.
Do you remember which ones?
Joey Fatone and
yes.
It was Joey Fatone and we're mutuals. It's horrible that I'm sitting here drawing a blank. It'll come to me in a minute.
What a cool moment though.
Yeah.
That I mean, wow. He came to you, and that was probably cool for him because they probably don't get to do that much. You don't get to do that much, you know.
Right. They were setting up in the VIP area, and they were doing a show the next day, and yeah.
This is random. So some people that are good at speaking normally can sing. Can you sing? Growing up, Church of Christ.
No.
Okay.
Are you kidding me? Have you seen the videos where I've tried to sing?
I guess not. No.
Yeah, that's not me putting on. It's bad.
That's you.
It's bad.
I'm gonna have to go back and look.
Oh, it's
I might
bad.
link one below for you guys too.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. She'll throw the link below. But Noah, the singing barber.
Yes.
Have you seen him?
Yes.
So me and him are good friends, and that idiot has convinced people that I'm his father. He has convinced people on the internet that I'm his father somehow, and people legitimately think that I was his dad and got sent to prison. People will believe anything. But anyways, he every time I get around him, he gives me voice lessons and tries to teach me how to sing. And I can match pitch.
You can harmonize.
No, I can't harmonize.
No?
That's what I thought.
Okay, yeah.
I thought I was harmonizing.
I'm uneducated.
I was matching his pitch.
Okay.
So I can match his pitch no matter where he takes it. I can stay right there with him. When he stops, I fall off. Harmonizing, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But harmonizing is where you're like one or two above or below.
Oh,
right? So it's like a different pitch, a little bit of a different pitch. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
You're like, yeah, I can harmonize.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's actually really cool because I don't think a lot of people can even match pitch. I didn't even know what that was until.
Oh, I'm phenomenal at matching pitch. Matching pitch. Yeah, I said it right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I can do that. But if you stop, I'm done. It just falls off. I go to right back to tone deaf Justin. I'm telling you, can't carry a tune in a bucket.
In another life, if you don't make it as
Maybe.
Justin Danger Nunley, tone deaf Justin.
Always, growing up, we had a trailer. My dad owned a, is that you or me? Growing up, I thought I had
There's
mine
a
on Do
phone.
Not Disturb, so I'm
Me
kind
too.
of wondering if, can I look at it
Yeah,
real quick?
please. It could
Can
be,
we take a time out?
Yeah.
So growing up, my parents had a trailer. My dad had a trailer. He used to own a backhoe business, and it was a big trailer, like platform trailer. And I used to stand up on the side of it and acted like I was singing to hundreds of thousands of people. I wanted to be an entertainer, right? But nobody told me until I was an adult, you can't sing,
Where were those people in your life telling you?
When people say, the worst lie you can tell a kid is you can do anything you want. No, you can't.
No.
I couldn't sing. I wasn't going to be a singing entertainer, but I could still be an entertainer.
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I can't carry a tune in a bucket to save my life.
That's so relatable though, because do you remember Hannah Montana?
I do. She can't sing either.
Well,
Yeah, Miley Cyrus, she can't sing.
that's
She
a hot
sounds
take.
like an 80-year-old smoke. That's not a hot take. That is not a hot take. And Billy Ray couldn't sing either. Come at me.
Wow.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments I'm wrong, because I'm not. Billy Ray
Yeah.
couldn't sing. He had one good song.
Achy Break Your Heart?
No, Some Gave All.
Oh, I don't know that I've even heard that. Yeah, I'm going to have to go.
You got to listen
Yeah.
to Some Gave All.
Okay.
Phenomenal song. Very moving song. But great song. So
Okay, well, she did it. So maybe there's still hope for you.
yeah, she sounds like an 80-year-old smoker now.
She
I mean,
does.
if JoJo Siwa can make it, anybody can,
True.
That girl's something else. Lord have
True.
mercy.
I didn't know that she wasn't as loved as I thought. So I felt really
Mm-hmm.
old. I was at a wedding a few weekends ago, and a friend's little sister was like fangirling over these people. And I was like, oh, she looks like JoJo Siwa. And she looked at me like I had 3 heads. Like that was an insult. I don't know. I was like, I thought I was doing good. I thought I was being cool and hip. But okay, that's one thing that we need to talk about because you have learned it. I've seen a video that you've done with your sons. You keep up with the trends. How do you feel about the new language that the kids are speaking nowadays?
Oh, I'm here for it.
Okay.
Because I always, my kids, whenever I use like one of the new words,
Like "gat" or something.
yeah, when I, level 7 gat, they're always like, how do you know what that means? I'm like, dude, I'm chronically online. Right. I'm going to know what these words mean. I forget what word I dropped on my 11-year-old the other day. And he was just like,
was it Riz or Ohio or Skibbity Toilet? Those are even old now.
I forget what it was, but it was one of the new ones, like hot off the press. Ooh. And he was like, how do you know that? You know what I think's weird?
What?
Is like how all the rumors before the internet got to and I've heard other podcasts talk about this before, like every kid in America in middle school or high school when I was growing up was convinced that Marilyn Manson had his 2 bottom ribs removed. You can use your imagination for why we thought that, right? But everybody in America thought it, but none of us had the internet. We didn't have the internet.
We couldn't look anything up.
How in the did that get around?
You know how it got around because they
like
called
the COVID virus.
They called someone. They called someone. Were you around? And I don't mean this by calling you old, but were you around?
He's looking it up to see why we thought this.
Juan's over here on his phone. That's funny.
He was like, I got to see why you removed those 2 bottom ribs. That's what you're thinking, Juan.
When you were growing up, did you have the what is it? Party line calling? Do you remember that? Do you remember party line calling?
Yeah, where you would like request a song and stuff.
No,
is that what you're saying?
Like,
I grew up in a small town, so you know the town's name that I grew up in,
Cherokee, Alabama.
We didn't have any red lights.
Wow,
we was like 30 miles from a Walmart.
Oh my!
It was a small town. Our graduating class was 69.
What an interesting number.
The entire graduate, very interesting. And that was my number in football for a year, and until they wouldn't let me have it again. But yeah, very very small school, right? No, I don't know what a party line is.
Okay.
We had request lines where you would call and profess your love and, play Don't Take the Girl for Me.
Over the radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, did you ever listen to Delilah? Was she in Alabama?
I do remember that name.
Late Nights with Delilah. It's like
doesn't she still
Sunday
do
Night
that?
Slow Jam. Maybe.
I think she still does it. Yeah.
I don't listen to the radio.
Yeah.
I need to listen to the radio.
Nobody does anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody's too busy consuming digital media
on our phones.
now,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I always say, legacy media is dead. If you want to advertise, come holler at somebody like me.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll get the word out, baby. We'll get the word out.
While I have you, I am so genuinely curious to know what's going on in your head. So I've got to know, what is a conspiracy theory that you will die on, like that you believe in? I want to know.
You're trying to get me canceled?
Well, no, maybe don't be too real.
Look,
maybe you don't even like conspiracy theories.
Oh no, I do.
I figured.
Oh, I do. Here's how I look at conspiracy theories, right? I love dabbling in them, but like people say 9/11 was an inside job. Right? You start talking about that, right? So many people would have to know about it and not say anything. You can't keep anything a secret these days.
No.
Right?
No.
So
something can get leaked somewhere.
Oh, something's getting leaked.
Yeah.
Like our politicians can't, have diarrhea without it getting leaked to the media,
Yes. Because someone knows
diarrhea?
someone. You could say diarrhea. Please say diarrhea.
I love that word. No, the moonwalk.
Okay, the first walk on the moon, or the dance move. Where are we going?
The first walk on the moon.
You don't believe it was real?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there. Could have been real.
I'll support you because I wasn't either.
Could have been real. It's hard for me to fathom.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't know. And people say, oh, we placed a reflector on the moon. So if you look at it and you bounce a laser off of it, you can see it. Maybe. So maybe we did. But I see a lot of reasons why we didn't. And if we didn't, what was the reason why we didn't? It was to, bankrupt the Russians so we could win the Cold War, which we did. With the space race, we beat the Russians to the moon, beat them to space. They sent a dog up. The Russians sent a dog up, Sputnik.
Wow.
On a suicide mission. That dog never made it back. You know, sad. So that poor dog just gave his life for nothing.
I didn't even know
we
that.
We won. USA, baby.
All the way. Which, like, you can really, I mean, you've lived it. You helped us win things. You can definitely say USA number one.
USA number one.
Do you want to talk about that for a second? Can we talk about, okay, so
mind.
I have so many questions and I only want to go there if you want to,
Yeah.
but, late at night when you weren't sure if you were going to make it through the next day, the next night, whatever that was, training, whether in battlefield, what kept you going? I've
never, in my 20 years in the military, I've never seen a bullet fly.
Really?
Never have. I've never shied away from, this. I've only been deployed one time, and it was to Qatar.
Okay.
Doha, Qatar, which is the pearl capital of the world. But I've never seen a bullet fly. I've never seen a mortar fly. Nothing. I'm lucky, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But I built bombs. That was my career field. We'd build bombs and maintain anything that would blow up, missiles, bullets, anything like that.
Hang on.
Yeah.
You built them?
Yeah.
Were you ever scared you were going to have a mishap?
No. Because if one of them does go off, I mean, it's not your problem anymore. There was only one time that I was scared. I was towing some live missiles back from the flight line. It was on a Friday night, and I hadn't been in the military that long, and I had a trailer full. It was a 141 trailer, and I think we had, five missiles on the top and then 4 on the bottom. So I had like 9 live 1.1 missiles, right, which would have ended everything, in that truck and around that truck, right? And I got caught out in an electrical storm. It was, lightning popping, and Florida is the lightning strike capital of the world. More people get struck by lightning in Florida than anywhere else. But
wow.
Yeah, so that was the only time I was scared. I was like, if this truck gets hit by lightning, I'm done, right?
Yeah.
But no, I've never been worried.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's honestly so cool.
There's been a couple unnerving moments.
I bet.
When you're trying to forklift something and it falls off the forklift and it hits the ground. But they're pretty safe. It's just like a big paperweight until you put the fuses and everything in it.
But make it all work, make it all go.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you shared
this. Not really. It's very boring.
Yeah. I mean, no, it is interesting though to the normal person like you and me out there that really don't get to see the ins and outs of it all.
Yeah.
And you're almost done. You said September 1st?
September the 1st, and I am a free man.
Oh my goodness.
20 years, which is wild. I did that video not too long ago, when my last duty day that I was in uniform, and looking back, it feels like, just last week I left for basic training. And then, you look at it another way and you're like, man, it felt like a lifetime ago. So,
well, thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service. That is huge.
Thank you.
There's a lot of people that couldn't have done what they do, including myself, without your service. And full transparency, even if you feel like you never saw a bullet fly, you weren't in the, like, truly every person there, just by saying I am going to the military has made an impact and changed somebody's life and made it for the better. And through your 20 years, you've seen some stuff, because if everyone is doing the math and going back to the 2008
I've
era.
I've seen some wild stuff.
Yeah.
But nothing war related.
Yeah.
But I've seen some wild, crazy stuff.
Of course. And being employed by the government and stuff too, that's just a whole nother, we could have a whole nother podcast. So,
oh Lord.
Anyways, I'm just so thankful for that. And before we go, I actually have one more question for you. And I think this is going to be the best thing to end on, because people have made it this far. They deserve to know, what is something that people would be shocked to know about you? Maybe they don't know about, because you're such an open book. So I'm going to think of something really girly. Do you put fruit in your cereal?
I love Angry Girl music.
Okay. What's your favorite song? Angry Girl song?
Anything by Alanis Morissette. That is like so weird. But like Angry Girl music,
Yes.
Alanis Morissette or Meredith Brooks. Yeah, I love.
I don't
know why. Yeah, me neither. But yeah, I do. I love it. Love Alanis Morissette.
Well, there you go. The more you know.
And I love Nickelback.
Ooh.
Yeah. Nickelback gets a lot of crap. That's a good band.
Yeah.
That's a good band. And Creed, I'm friends with one of the bassists for Creed. He lives. I've coached his kid in baseball before. They live down there where we live. Brian Marshall, great dude, great family, and huge Creed fan too. And they catch a lot of flack.
They do.
You know, Creed, Nickelback, and Angry Girl music's where I'm at, but mostly country. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that.
Hold on, but you, music wise.
Ooh, okay. Well, what
I'm
do you
turning
think?
the tables now.
Yeah,
I'm asking.
you're
I'm in the
interviewing.
driver's seat.
Well, what do you think I listen to? Let's start
You
with
listen to country, and I would say that you're probably a big Lainey Wilson fan, but I think that you also like the older stuff like Martina McBride and Jody Messina, and that's what I'm reading here.
Yeah, okay, you're not wrong. I think right now, currently, I am like nothing but Lauren Daigle. Christian, full Christian, fighting some battles, so we're getting through it.
Yeah.
But I will say for country, I need to love Lainey more than I do. It's not that I don't love her. I love her so much. I just almost forget about her music. That's so sad to say. Yeah. It's probably a hot take. Come at me, please. Remind me to listen to Lainey.
Lainey's an awesome person. Every time I see her, she gives me a big hug and everything. And
she's from your area, Louisiana area. So the South.
I don't know. I mean, I've only met her, backstage at the Opry and different concerts and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say right now it's Cody Johnson and
Kojo.
I'm Clay
good.
Strays.
Oh, Red Clay Strays. I'm good friends with Cody Johnson's pedal player.
Okay. Yeah. That's a whole nother.
Harrison Yunt. He's a good dude.
That's
just
his
got
name?
married last week. Congrats on your marriage. Buddy.
Were you at the wedding?
I wasn't.
Dang.
I didn't get invited.
Rude.
How did I not get invited?
It's funny how that happens. You're friends until the wedding list comes out, and then you're like,
But he invites me to the concert, so I'm happy about that. And my first cousin, Dustin Nunley. So I'm Justin Nunley. Dustin Nunley.
Stop.
He's the guitarist for Luke Combs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Fun fact. That's a fun fact.
That is something that nobody knew about you. First of all, that your cousin's name is Dustin.
Dustin Nunley, yes.
That's hilarious.
Dustin and Justin, yes.
Did you guys grow up together too?
Not that close. He's a little bit older than me, and I'm way better looking than him. He's got way more talent than I do.
How many times have you seen Luke Combs?
Several. Yeah. Love Luke Combs though.
That's
love
good.
him. Good
he
dude.
Seems down to
good
earth.
Dude. Yeah.
So since it's almost time to go, where can everyone find you? Tell us. Do you want me to? I have them all listed. If you want me to read them all.
If you don't know by now, don't even bother. No, just any social media platform. Just look up Justin Danger Nunley, and
you're there.
Yeah, there's a blue check mark beside all of them. So
that's
the
know.
one you follow.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to message you and ask you for money. So
never.
Don't get fooled by scams. What's your demographic on this podcast? Young or old?
Yeah, 20s, 30s.
20s, 30s?
Yeah. Late 20s.
What is like the normal premise behind your podcast here?
Storytelling, getting to know people, taking a second to just we normally do in a normal world when someone's not funny, we would do like background, how you got started.
Well, this wasn't funny.
Well, it was kind of serious. I'm so sorry about that.
Well, you never even asked me why I like boots.
Why do you like boots?
But we're on a boot podcast, and I never got asked this. We're doing the southern goodbye thing. We're just going to keep this rolling.
We are. We're gonna.
No, yeah. I used to do horse shows. When I was young. That's something people don't know about me.
Wow.
I used to do horse shows. I had a little Shetland pony named Molly, right? And when I say horse shows, it was like the lead line where, my parents would, pull
Run
the horse.
You?
Yeah, they would pull the horse and everything. And we would get completely canceled for it now.
Yeah.
But I would dress in full Indian stuff with the everything with the the
full headdress.
Yes, everything.
Why?
And I don't know. And then when I got a little bit older, we would that was just my introduction to like a rodeo, horse shows, and I got into barrel racing and really enjoyed that.
Oh
Not with the same Shetland pony because she was short and fat. Just like my first girlfriend, you know what I'm saying?
I do know what
well,
you're
she
saying.
wasn't thin, but she is now. You know who you are. You put on a few pounds. That's all right, though. You still got a good personality. A face only a mama could love, but
you're blocked on everything. How would you know?
Bless her heart. Yeah. Yeah. I just realized the other day that I did get blocked by somebody. Yeah.
That's rude.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's
It happens all the time.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. So did you do horses growing up? You said that you cleaned stalls.
Yeah, I did.
You know what one of my favorite smells in the world is?
Don't say horse manure.
I love
you
it.
are psycho.
I love it. Well, yeah. Well, it's like a nostalgic smell.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to bury my face in it. I'm not one of those weirdos. The
People
worst,
do that?
though, the worst, I'm sure they do. There's a fetish for everything.
True.
You know?
True. My
Would
Strange
that be a
Addiction on TLC. Remember that?
Yes. Did you see the chick that would eat the car foam?
I
seat?
did.
Ugh.
In the pods, that came back around at one point in time. Or I guess it wasn't. It was detergent.
Do you know
or
how many
whatever.
farts were stored in those seat cushions?
Pink eye.
Ugh.
There's no telling what happened on those cushions.
The worst smelling manure, though, is chicken litter. It smells like Hershey bars. After you smell chicken litter for the first time, and then you're like, Nunley was right, it smells like Hershey bars. I won't eat Hershey bars to this day because of that.
You mean at a chicken coop where they? Okay.
Well, I'm talking like a big chicken house.
Okay.
When they're
Hershey bars.
cleaning out the, if you're probably about a quarter mile downwind from it and you catch the smell.
Okay, this is a good topic that now that we're on this. My friend, actually coworker here, she runs our social media. She says that when she eats cilantro, it tastes like dish soap. Do you have that gene?
No.
You like cilantro?
Yeah, I wear jeans.
We need to get you wearing some Justin jeans. Did you know we even have
we
Justin
got to
jeans?
cut that out now, don't we? Dadgummit. Yeah, do y'all, you know what? I will switch to Justin jeans. I will switch every jean in my closet out to Justin jeans. If
we pay you $1 million.
No. I'm not, it ain't about the money. You women have been on to this for a while. Hold on.
Yes. This is Justin jean. Stretchy.
They don't make men's jeans like that, but these are the ones that I found that are stretchy.
We're about to convert you, Justin. We will ship some to your house.
Y'all have stretchy jeans for men?
Very stretchy.
I love stretchy jeans.
Juan, wouldn't you say? Yeah.
Juan, you wearing
Juan
some
agrees.
stretchy jeans? Juan's wearing some nut huggers, and I love it. You've never seen Juan because he's always behind the camera, but Juan's rocking some nut huggers.
And next week, we're going to have Juan on the podcast. And he edits this thing, so he's not even going to... I hope you don't edit that out.
You better leave that in there, or I'm going to call you out on a video. Juan's funny all day long. He'll say he's going to do something, and I'll stop him as he's walking out and tell him to go do what he was going to do anyways.
I witnessed that, and I have to tell everyone this because they might understand. I have never seen Juan laugh as hard as he did after the door was closed, so he didn't want you to see him laughing at you.
The look, I wish somebody would have been recording when Juan was already through the door. He's like, hey, we was fixing to go to Terry Black's.
Yes.
And he had his camera. He had this big camera. He had been filming all day, bless his heart, because
he's a trooper.
He didn't bring a tripod, so he's holding this camera all day. His arms have to be tired. Well, one arm anyways. The other one's probably well worked out. But he said, I'm going to set this down before we go eat. And
there they go again.
He said, I'm going to set this down before we go eat. And I waited until the door had already shut. I mean, it was probably about that far from shut. And I said, hey, Juan, and made him come back. You had probably gotten, 5-6 steps away by then, just far enough to where it would have been aggravating to turn back around and walk back. He walked back, opened the door, and he's like, yeah. And I said, hey, you need to go put that down before we go eat. And this was the look I got from him. And then turned and walked away. Yeah. So I didn't get the laugh that you got.
Dang.
Yeah. So when you told me that he laughed, I was like, okay, good. Juan's not pissed. We're good. We're good.
I
love to mess with people.
I'm so glad you did because you know your power. You know that okay, I have some influence. I'm standing in this room and you mess with them. That is
my favorite thing to do is mess with people.
You don't say.
It is. It is. I do enjoy doing that. I've got to say, have y'all ever done a tour of this whole place on social media?
No, we haven't.
I wonder how many boots are on property. Not in boxes. Ooh. I'm talking about just on the wall. They are everywhere. I'm telling y'all, every office.
Let's do a giveaway on the podcast right now.
You're not going to be able to count all of them. There's no way.
We will.
I don't think there's. If you email the whole company and say, hey, I need you to tell me how many boots are in your office.
Let's do it.
It is okay.
I'm a fan of baby shower games, and this feels like a baby shower game.
I don't think you understand. Do it. Do it. You have no clue.
No.
There is so many. Leave it in the comment section.
Yeah.
You will never guess how many boots are in this place. Every room you walk into, every office you walk into, there are boot displays. There are so many boots.
We've got boots on the wall in the back. You guys can see older styles. half pairs? What are you counting boots? Are you counting a pair? Or are you counting a single pair of boots?
Single, because a lot of them are just singles that are on display. Like all of those right there are singles.
Yeah.
So even if they are pairs, they should still count as singles.
Okay, I
So
agree.
you need to know how many individual boots
Yeah.
are. I'm talking about the warehouse here, you know, and the
Building across
the
the
building
street.
across the street. Yeah.
Archives,
It's
customer
crazy.
service.
It is nuts. I'm talking about boots that are just out. If they're in boxes, they don't count. Miss
Okay.
Nancy, if they're in boxes, they don't count. But if they're out,
Okay.
there's even a pair. If you walk over there into the other building, there's a pair of boots that were made for Shaq.
Oh, yeah.
They're huge. I did a video with them a while ago.
Good.
They go all the way from here to here.
Did you put them on your foot? You
I
should.
didn't, but I set them next to my boots.
You know what they say about people with big boots, big boot size?
Big socks.
They have big feet. Yeah.
Yeah, big socks. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
our joke. That's what we say.
Have you ever seen LeBron's feet?
No. I can't say that I have. Feet finder. Let's go. We're getting off camera for this. Got to grab the phone.
I want you to be on here when
Okay.
I show you what LeBron James' feet look like.
Also, how do you have his feet on your phone?
Oh,
That's
I'm
what I want to
Googling
know.
it.
Are you the scammer that is like selling his feet?
LeBron James' feet.
Who did you just ask?
Your
camera? Your camera roll?
Hold on. I'm telling you. Are you ready for this?
No.
Hold on. That's not a good picture. This is a good picture.
Okay, hang on. Is it with shoes on or just bare feet?
Bare feet.
I have so many questions.
Are you ready to see his feet?
Yes, let's go. That's fake news.
That's not fake news. This is feet. If you want to see wilder,
We're going to put the photo. We're going to put the photo.
show it to the camera. Here you go. Let me zoom it back up.
It's got to be fake. It's
Here we go,
not.
Here we go. Let me
But
see
it's
if I can
on.
turn
It's
around.
online. It must be real.
Right there. You can overlay the picture too.
Yeah,
Why
we
not
will.
send you the picture? Because it is wild. And if you want to see even wilder feet, Deion Sanders. He had his big toe removed.
Because of all the
I guess all the
stopping,
I
jumping?
guess. I don't know.
How do you know
Do you
this?
have a foot fetish?
Not at all, but it sounds like you do.
I ask every podcast host that I go on if they have a foot fetish. The Undertaker doesn't either.
Okay. Has
There
somebody
was-
ever said yes?
Yes.
Ooh.
But they edited it out.
Ah.
And I was sworn to secrecy on who has the foot fetish.
It's Bunny.
I am
It's
the
gotta be
holder.
Bunny.
I am the holder of secrets.
It's John Christ.
That would be funny. John, you got a foot fetish, dog? You have a foot fetish? I know his girlfriend. I know she wouldn't have that shit. You ain't looking at my feet.
I am so thankful for your time.
Thank you
This
for
has
having me
been-
on.
Yeah.
Do I get to keep my coffee
You get to
cup?
keep the mug, and I have a gift for you that I'll give you off camera.
Do you really?
I put some extra stuff in there. I know you have some sons, so I was hoping that maybe they wouldn't have to fight over some things.
Let's
but
go.
anyways,
Let's go.
thank you for your time. It's so valuable.
Thank
and
you.
I've learned a lot about you, and I feel like everyone else has been enlightened too. So
I hope it was an entertaining podcast.
very entertaining to say the least. When we end on LeBron James's feet, come on.
Yeah. I feel like I'm just now getting into stride where we could really get canceled.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to get unhinged. That's when we always I
That's
like
where the
to
good stuff
border on
is.
that line.
Yeah.
That is where the good
you
stuff
are.
is.
You are that line. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
most of the time, yes. Absolutely.
Anyways, you guys know where to find him. Thanks for listening. And as always, if you want your 15% off justinboots.com, head on over to www.justinboots.com
Hold on.
and use code.
We'll come back to that.
Okay.
Are they going to put in the comment section
They
how
are.
many boots are in this whole place?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to. If you guys didn't hear that before, it's now challenge accepted. I personally am going to do a whole inventory.
I'm going to guess. I've seen the whole place.
Okay.
You know what? Before we leave here,
You'll
just so
submit
you
your
can
guess.
put on your channel,
Yep.
I'm going to walk around and I'm going to show the majority.
Okay.
Not where people can pause.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, this is what the normal office looks like here.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'll show some of the bigger rooms. But then you can have at it.
That sounds good. And then you can give your guess.
I have a guess in my mind.
Okay. Don't
I'll
say
tell
it
you-
here.
No, I'll tell you what my guess is, and you could just bleep it out right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to say that's my
pretty
guess.
solid.
So I'm curious to see what it would be now.
Okay.
You got to keep me
You have my
posted.
word. You have my
Okay,
word.
okay.
I will do that.
What's the
They
discount
know.
code for 15% off?
KYBU15. That's the code you're going to use for 15%
What was
off.
it?
KYBU15.
Why in the is it so hard to remember? KYBU.
Kick your boots up. KYBU.
Kick your
15.
boots up. 15.
Justin, this has been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all stay classy, stay out of trouble. Take it easy. I'll take it any way I can get it. Okay, we're done.
Thanks for joining us on Kick Your Boots Up. I'm your host, Taylor McAdams, and we can't wait to share the next story of the West. Until then, feel free to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. Follow us on social media at Justin Boots to keep up with our next episode. And we'll see you the next time you kick your boots up.